Hey guys, what is up? So I am coming to you with another video, and I know recently there was a few, well, not recently, but altogether there's like a few videos on my channel that kind of like explain some occurrences in my life, some negative occurrences in my life, and tries to just like, it's my way of venting. I come to my channel to vent, and maybe some people watching have gone through the same things that I have. So this is how I talk about it, this is how I address it, and this is how I begin the process of dealing with it. So I wanted to come on here and talk about some other stuff that I haven't really addressed, and I want to address it because I am not doing good with it right now. So basically, before I moved here, I was dealing with like a lot of stuff from a lot of different people, and where I lived just kind of became like too much, and it was too energy draining for me to be there, and I just didn't want to be anymore. And I thought that moving here would have been completely like 100% good. And like, don't get me wrong, like I love it here, and I love being with Colin, and I love having the girls and all of that stuff. Like, I'm not complaining about my life, and I'm not complaining about where I'm at right now, but I'm more or less trying to process some of the stuff that happened because of me leaving that have been kind of bothering me and affecting me in a not so great way. There were a lot of things that happened before I left, not going to lie, and there was a good chunk that was my fault. And growing up, I caused a lot of problems. That's just how it was. And as I got older, I tried to get away from the problems, but then I'm also a hard ass, and I'm also like extremely, extremely, extremely stubborn. So if anyone goes against me or does anything to me that I don't appreciate, like I'll bite back. That's just like how I've been. So I've been biting back a lot, and before I left, there was a few things that did happen with some people that were supposed to be my friends, but they turned out to not really be, and that's okay. Sometimes in life you grow apart from people, and you know, I showed my true colors with them, and they showed their true colors with me, and they didn't mix the way that they should have mixed. So when I moved here, it was kind of supposed to be like a relief, and I was supposed to like be really happy about being here and whatnot. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I am happy, and I'm enjoying every minute of my life and building my life with a partner, and that's a fantastic thing for me, and experiencing something new and following my dreams of like my jobs and all of that stuff, and just being able to focus more on myself, because obviously here I don't know like anybody, so I'm kind of here, and the only friends that I have are back home. So I talk to them every day, but it's not the same as if like I was sitting here and they'd be like, oh, can like I come over, can you hang out, like that kind of stuff. Like I kind of miss that, and it's been hitting me really hard. When I first moved here, I had a best friend. She was more like family, and I knew her since I was like 3 years old, and this probably has hit me the hardest, and I don't think a lot of people understand why, but when you lose a best friend or somebody that you're really close with, someone that has gotten you through a lot of things, sometimes it is harder than losing a relationship. And trust me, I went through my phase last year of like being devastated because I lost a relationship and whatever, for like my little span of time that I was devastated. But the thing with this person is that last year when I was falling into my lowest point, she was there for me. And there's a lot of my friends that would be there for me and would like let me talk to them and like would listen to me. But there's a few people that would fully and completely understand. And you know how like when you talk to somebody about your problems and like they act like they like care about everything and like they want you to talk to them, but you know, and like you could tell by like the way that they are just like reacting to like what you're saying, they don't really care. And like it's kind of like talking to like a brick wall kind of in a way. But this friend was going through the exact same stuff when I was going through that exact same stuff, and we both were trying to find our happiness at the same time, and we did. And we got into a position where we were finally like getting better, and it was great. And then, you know, shit happens, you know, like I was like spiraling starting early last year, and it was getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and I was trying to ignore it, and she knew exactly what I was doing. Like she knew what I was actually feeling, and like she was like that one person that like I could talk to and it felt like the conversation was real, like, if you know what I mean. Because there are people that you talk to and they like pretend that they're like listening, or they are listening, but like it's not like a connection. Like you can't feel, like you don't feel like it matters very much to them. And like it's different with her. So spiraling. And then right before I moved, the pandemic started, and I was also starting I started on antidepressants. I was trying to see if that would help with what was going on, because, you know, I was like building myself back up, but there were still moments where like I was still spiraling a little bit, and I was trying to make it better. And right around the time that I was planning on coming here, the pandemic started and my hours got cut. I was getting called off way more than I ever was before. And, you know, like when you live on your own, because I was living with her, when you live on your own, there's bills and responsibilities and things that come up. And if you're not bringing in the money to cover that, like, it kind of fucks you. And my hours were going down, her hours were going down. Her boyfriend was living with us at the time, and he was like delivering for like Uber Eats, and that was bringing in enough money for him. So I signed up for Instacart, and I was doing that, and she started Uber Eats, and I would go out with her to do that. So I was bringing in extra, but it still wasn't enough. And she knew for a few months that I was going to be leaving, and this wasn't my original plan at all. Like, I wasn't planning on moving here when I did. I was planning on waiting until our lease was up in October and then getting an apartment out here. But things kind of developed in a different way. And before I knew the full extent of what the pandemic was causing job-wise, I was 100% sure that I would still be able to afford to pay her my third of our rent, which I was responsible for. And I thought that that's how it was going to be. Even with going and trying to get on unemployment, I was positive that I was going to be able to do that. And I thought that I was going to be able to do that. And I put in my head, that's just Elena, she's sitting down. But I put in my head that I would be able to do that. And I really, really thought that that's what was going to happen. I got here, I was waiting for unemployment to go through, but I was still looking for jobs because it wasn't guaranteed that I was gonna get on unemployment. It wasn't guaranteed that my checks were gonna come, and it wasn't guaranteed that anything was going to go through. So I was still looking here because at the time where I was living got hit harder than where I moved to. So people were still hiring here. And April came around and the first of the month came around, and like she was calling me every day. I was calling her every day. Like she got a puppy, like she was showing me her dog and like all this stuff that like was going on, and she was still like talking to Elena because, you know, Elena grew up around them. And like I was like seeing the cats because like I don't get to see the cats anymore. And so April came around and I didn't have my third of the rent because I couldn't find a job and unemployment didn't go through yet. And I was trying, and you know, when that happened, I was basically living off of my credit cards at that point, like for groceries and whatnot, and then whatever Colin was making was going into the house bills, like the mortgage, the utilities, like the internet, like that stuff. Like that's where his stuff was going. And I was basically using my credit card for like gas and groceries and whatever Elena needed at the time. So I was building that up without having anything coming in, which was getting harder on me. So when the day was coming around, she just like texted me and she was just like, you know, like, are you gonna have the third? And I was like, I honestly don't know, you know. And she said that she would cover April for me and see where I'm at in May to see if I could start paying my third then. And, you know, I told her, sure, I just don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna be at. Like, because I didn't. I had no clue what was going to happen and how everything was gonna play out. I don't think anybody did. And it was frustrating and it was stressful because I've never been without a job before since I've started working, and I didn't have any money coming in, and I had to support myself and Elena. And even if I would have stayed at home, it would have been the same situation because I wouldn't have been able to get a job. Like no place back home was hiring. They were laying people off left and right. Like hours were getting cut. Like it was out of my control. And it was out of everybody's control at the time. And, you know, I have my flaws, and I have a lot of things that I wouldn't care about doing to somebody, but one of those things has never been screwing anybody over when it comes to money. Like there was a time when I was transitioning from 2 jobs to 1, and she helped cover a part of a bill for me that I didn't have at that time. And the second that I had that money, she got it back. And I never gave her any reason to believe that I wouldn't be paying her as soon as I had the means to do so, because that's just not who I am. Like I fuck around a lot, and you know, like I'm petty as hell, and like I cause some issues for people, but I don't fuck around with money because I don't like when people fuck around with me when it comes to money. So I wouldn't do that to somebody else, you know? And, you know, then the first rolls around and she's just like texting me like freaking out because I haven't paid her yet, and telling me that it's like all my fault and I planned this and I never planned on paying her and all of this stuff. And like I was like, I thought we already talked about this, and it was escalating super quickly, and it was like extremely frustrating because like it was out of my hands. Like if I didn't have the money coming in, I couldn't send it to her. And you know, her whole life, her mother and her father like picked her up like if she needed help with like anything money wise. And you know, she told me to just like ask my parents to help me, and like anybody that knows, like, if you're raised to not get any help from your parents, like, they're not going to. And I knew that if I asked my parents to give me, like, to spot me the money for this, that they wouldn't, because that's just not, like, the relationship I have with my parents, because I've worked for everything that I've ever received in my life. And if I've dug my own hole financially, like, it's always been my responsibility to get myself out of it. So I couldn't just ask my parents to help me. And, like, you know, it turned into, like, this big fight where she was just saying, like, if you couldn't afford to live in both places, that I shouldn't have moved, and all of this crazy stuff, because, you know, even if I stayed there, I wouldn't have had the money. The only difference is, like, we would have still been living together. And, you know, I think about this a lot. And, you know, no matter how it all played out, and no matter what had happened, like, this whole thing just kind of fucked me. Like, you know, being friends with somebody for so long to start, you know, and then being put in a situation that you can't control, and being completely 100% blamed for it, because, you know, her mom was texting her and calling her and telling her that I was doing this on purpose, and that's just, like, how I am, and, like, I always plan on, like, screwing her over, which is not even close to the truth. And the thing is nobody listened to me, and, like, it's frustrating and it's sad at the same time, because, like, it really was out of my control this time, and there's so many different things that could have happened, and, like, it stresses me out that that was the outcome, because, you know, she told me that I was dead to her, and that she didn't want contact with me unless I was giving her the money. And, you know, like I said, the second that I had it, I sent over the money that I owed her. But, you know, her mom got me off of the lease, so I wasn't financially responsible anymore. And she was acting like it was a favor to me, but it really wasn't, because, you know, that was not the plan. That was never the plan. I never planned any of that. And it was great, don't get me wrong, like, not having to be, like, actually responsible for doing that, but at the same time, it was just getting rid of me. Like, completely getting rid of me. And I thought that it was gonna be fine, and that, you know, if she felt like this, it would make it easier to just forget about it. And, like, the way that she talked to me and telling me that I was the dumb one for doing this, and that I was stupid, and that I was dead to her, and that I always plan on fucking her over, and all of this stuff, no matter what I said. Like, I thought that that would make it easier to just stop caring and to just let it go. But the hardest part about it is that it really was out of my control, and, like, I lost something that was really important to me. And even to this day, like, I'm blocked on everything. Like, it's been, what, like 6 months? Like, all of the things that we grew up, like, planning to do together is happening without her. And it's not easy. Like, I always planned for her to be in my wedding whenever I got married. And she missed that, which hit me really hard. And then, you know, there's just more stuff that's going to come after this that we thought about as kids, and I'm gonna have to do without her support or by my side or whatever. And you know, don't get me wrong, I want her happy, and if me being out of her life makes her happy, then that's great. But I'm not handling it well on my own, and like, I'm trying to. And like, you know, when my parents went and got my stuff from the apartment that I was living in with her, like, she even told my mom that she understood. And I don't know if that was just to like make my mom not hate her, but like, if you're telling my mom you understood, then why? You know, why? And you know, she can fucking, you know, not talk to me ever again. And like, maybe with time it will feel better, but right now it doesn't. And it's been really kind of killing me. And especially with everything that just happened, speaking in my last video, like, I'm now realizing that like some friends that I have now are like not real. And I think that's making it hit me a lot harder, because I'm missing someone that's like really important to me. And I don't know how I'm supposed to like accept it, and I'm working on it. But you know, I'm still trying to make it up to her and her mother months later, because I'm still not trying to look like the person that they're making me out to be. So I'm still working towards making this all up to both of them. And like, that doesn't matter at all either. So I'm sad. I'm trying to cope with it. It's not really working, and I was hoping that it would work, but it's not. And you know, it's killing me every single day. And that's like a really big thing going on in my mind right now, because you know, I can't let it go. And I've tried, and I can't. And you know, her mom checks in on me, which is great, don't get me wrong, but I wish it was her. And you know, she keeps telling me she's good, and she's like doing such great things right now, and that her relationship is doing so good. And like, I'm so happy for her that all of that stuff is going so good, because she deserves it after everything that happened last year. And you know, she's always going to deserve all of the happiness that life is going to give to her, or that life has given to her since I've been gone. Because, you know, I don't have any hard feelings, even with everything that was said to me and whatever. I don't have any hard feelings. I'm just working on trying to get past it, but I think that it's just hitting me harder now that so many things are happening in my life that we talked about experiencing together. And I think that's what's really like killing me at the end of the day. So yeah, I wanted to get that off my chest. I'm working on it. I got some vlogs filmed that should be coming up soon. And I'm working on some other things, but I just wanted to talk about that to see if it would make me feel better. I don't feel better yet, but hopefully soon, because this is getting real hard to deal with every single day. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, or if you have gone through or are going through something similar to this, leave a comment down below. Maybe we can help each other out. But anyways, I love you guys. Bye.